Hello everybody, how are you guys doing today? Welcome in Butterscorch and Mydraw, how you doing? Welcome in guys, I'm finishing up my prep here. Alright. So, how is everybody? How you guys doing? Is my mic on? Yeah, my mic's on. Okay. Alright. Not crazy. Not crazy. Let's go ahead and get started. We're going to work on some of these steel jacks. You're good. Good. Thank you. I can hear just fine. Yep. Yelling at me like I'm an old man. Jeez, Butterscorch. Okay, so we're gonna take a look at these minis. And I am going to figure out what gets painted what. Yep. Oh man, I'm tired. Anybody else tired today? Oh, I'm a tired people. Okay, maybe I don't start with black. We start with brown, and then we go silver, and then we go black. I think that's the appropriate order here. So we're going to start with our black brown. Welcome in. Happy Thursday. Oh my goodness, I am so out of it. Assembling more Skitari. Get the flying death trim done. Oh, nice. That's awesome. That mini's so cool. I fought against one last weekend. Was it last weekend or the weekend before? I fought against one recently. It was really cool. And it has a cool way of inflicting statuses on units. And it has like phage missiles basically, so it like reduces toughness of units permanently. So it's really good for that. I think it's literally... Oh, well, hold on. Okay, belts and stuff are brown. Alright, that's cool. Yeah, definitely a fun miniature though. So, some random news. I should have a video ready for Patreon members after this stream ends. I'll put a post on Patreon. You guys should be good with a new Thousand Suns guide. So if you're in the Patreon, you get that video a day early. I'll upload it tomorrow for everybody else. But we got that. That's cool. I think that's all brown on that guy. Right. So you're looking forward to that. But I have a video done. It's edited. Everything's good. I was totally not editing a video before I went live and trying to render it and get everything ready. That was not what my morning was full of, but yeah. Use some parts of the Eye of Horus on the tank kit, including Age of Darkness set to make a Chaos Sigil. Oh, cool, alright. Full Trader Mechanicum. It's great. They're putting base coats on steel jacks. Hopefully we'll get a bunch of washes on today. If we can make it to that point, it'd be nice. I don't know. We'll see. I have some things I'd like to paint next week. There's a chance I'm going to be finishing up these minis next week, but if I am able to get to something new, I'm pretty excited. I got some Thousand Sun stuff to paint, so that's fun. Some things I have been wanting for a long time. I have a few hours of watch time on YouTube. Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate it, my draw. We were missing you in the Patreon hangout, but I was lurking in your stream last night. I get a viewership solidarity here. How are you doing, Greenleaf? What are you up to? Painting minis? Just chilling? What's going on? Last night was rambly. Yeah, that's fine. That's what you're there for, though. You're there to just ramble on. I'm excited to see all your like Blood Bowl team progress and stuff, and your field that you're making and everything. Like that's such a cool project. Mm-hmm. Oh man, oh I'm so tired. I did play I got to play a little learning game of Heresy. Was teaching someone how to play last night, yesterday evening rather, and it was nice. Seemed like they had a lot of fun. So potential new people to the group. I already have game lined up for next week, which is exciting, and I don't know, maybe a game this weekend of something else. So I'm just getting all the game time in. It feels good. I like making a function army and playing a game of Heresy sometime. Yeah, it's fun. There's some complexity, but once you understand the rules and you can move through them, like the game goes really quick. I had one game this edition. It was maybe an hour and a half. We played a full 3,000 point game with everything, which was it was really nice. It's nice to be able to play a game in good time. Let's see, I said browns and then silvers. We have 3 more. It's browns. Paint black. Silver and black will probably take more time than anything. That's okay. They're prepared. Only 6 models. I think what's really nice about Mechanicum as an army is you can kind of just borrow stuff from 40k, and there's a lot you can borrow, and if there's things you don't like the look of in 40k, you don't have to worry about it, because none of them have rules anyway. It just ends up being kit bashing material or like characters, so you get a lot of freedom as a Mechanicum player. Mess around with different styles and everything. I think that's really cool. D-Slayer, what's going on? Few models I can use some of my favorite 40k pieces. Yeah. Which is great. It's great you're able to do that. I guess you can do it with Space Marines too, so it's not like they're locked out, but the Primaris components definitely have a more unique look, and people know or are more familiar with that, so they would understand that kind of the differences, I think, more than with Mechanicum stuff. Nothing much. On your work break? Nice. Hopefully you've had a great week, T-Slayer. Not too stressful or anything. purchased any of these said pieces. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. I don't have all the stuff I want either, and I put way too much money into my hobby, so. Paint details first. No, I'm working on base colors. So the main color of the armor is this bone color. So what I'm doing is I'm putting colors down in an order that makes sense to me. And it depends on like what's sitting on top of what and the amount that I put on each color. So I think the three biggest colors I'm putting on these minis are brown, even though there's not a ton of brown, but it sits under a lot of stuff. Black and silver. And there'll be a couple of accent colors before we do any kind of wash or anything over these minis. So since the brown is sitting under a lot of like silver pieces, like buckles and everything, I'm putting this brown down first. Because there aren't any points where it sits on top of silver. So it's not like I have to finagle the order to make it more difficult on myself. And yeah, there's black that sits on top of silver, so I need to put the silver down before I put the black down. What Starship Troopers game have you been playing? Is it the new one? The like what is that? Like Kill All Bugs or something? What's the? There's like a 90s shooter game that they just released for Starship Troopers. I thought was it called Terran Command? I thought Terran Command looked really cool. The like RTS game. One more. This color. Oh, Extermination. Okay, that's like the multiplayer game, right? Has that held up? I remember hearing a lot about it when it was coming out, and then I haven't heard much about it since then. Like fun. It reminded me of a bit of like Planet Side. Without like the PvP element, but like the huge team on the, you know, seemed like a more open world, but you're just like coordinating with like 20 people trying to make things work. It was really cool. A little buggy, but it's good. Okay. Well, pun intended, I hope. I would imagine a game about Starship Troopers would be pretty buggy. Restream means by its watermark. Description YouTube says made with Restream. Link to itself, then it has your description. What are you talking about? I am not familiar with that watermark. Have I just like not paid attention? You played Casper Van Dien, okay. Oh, weird. Okay. Okay. So it just does it when you're live then. It must. Huh. I can see why people would want to get rid of that then. probably why everybody on YouTube watches streams. Yeah, I do want to talk about the Middle Earth FAQ, though. A game that I do play. Let's see. Those are cool. Yeah, these are Votann, Mr. Pink. Votann minis. Mitral 50 stream streak. I see that. I see that now. Jeez. That's crazy. That's awesome, though. Yeah, I'm painting Votann Steeljacks today. That's the name of the game. We're putting base colors down. I'm hoping I can get to a wash step. We'll see. We'll see. Not gonna be too choosy, as long as I get some good progress on them. That's what really matters. These are commission. I have painted a lot of Votann for this gentleman, so we're just doing the next batch. Okay, so we are starting this silver, and we're going to be hitting these pistols here. I guess they're bolters. They're not even like just pistols. The blue wash you recommended me again? I'm not sure for what purpose. What purpose is the blue wash? Recently I recommended the Payne's Gray wash from which is like a blue wash from Pro Acryl somebody. Works really good over like silver for like a nice like steel color. It's really good. Yeah, Payne's Gray wash. Big Papa, what's going on, man? I'll try to add some color to these blades. I think that was the one. Yeah, Payne's Gray wash is really cool. Good color. I don't use it nearly enough, but when I do, I'm always really happy. A great day today. Good. I'm a little sleepy, but I'm doing all right. Okay, let's start with that. Go through these guys. We'll get their weapons, and then we'll move into to other parts here. Yeah, painting family's doing well. How's the Big Papa family? Everybody staying healthy? Get to painting, last few models from artworks, but you're lazy. Hell, you can get over that. You know, I can give you, Mr. Pink, simple solution to get over being lazy. You ready? You ready for this? It's just 2 words. Alright? 2 words and it'll help you. I promise. Here you go. When you're ready. This is it. Stop it. That's it. Just stop it. Anybody remember that Mad TV skit? Who was that? The comedian. He just passed away like last year. That his psychiatrist. And the woman goes to his office and she tells him she has a deep-seated fear. It was Bob Newhart. Yes, it was Bob Newhart. Yeah, I recommend that. I love that skit so much. But she meets with him and tells him she has a fear of being buried alive in a box, and he goes through that whole thing. It's so funny. We're cleaning, nothing to mess with. Oh my gosh. So, any Middle Earth players in the group here in chat? We want to talk about Middle Earth FAQ? I kind of want to talk about Middle Earth FAQ. Talk about how the army I'm bringing to my tournament next month was completely untouched, so it's nice. It was also not a very comprehensive FAQ, but yeah. So, my buddy Killacam, though, however, is playing Isengard, and Isengard got hit with some nerfs, but they were they had some really, really powerful stuff. But no, it seems good. Decent. It's just funny, it's like, we're gonna do one of these FAQs every 6 months, so be ready for answers. And they answer like 4 questions. And then change like 2 models rules. And they're like, there you go. We'll be back in August. You're welcome. Makes me wonder if no one if no one's submitting questions. You know? I know with oh, where am I looking? What's going on, Anthony? Like for the Heresy group, there's like people that I swear it's like their hobby just to submit questions to the to like the FAQ team, but even then, like, they don't answer a bunch of stuff. Looking at whips. All right, what did Anthony paint here? No, Maze more Lumineth. Nice. The purple and like off-white, very nice. Oh yeah, the little glowing rune looks really good too, and great job on the face. Also, very nice job, Anthony. Yeah, solid work. Real good. You've never met a Middle-earth player in the wild, yeah. We have a pretty good group. Pretty big group in my area. But yeah, Middle-earth is definitely well past its heyday of popularity, right? So, today, may as well paint what I can. Very nice. All right. Good deal. Yeah, so, like the old man that I am, yesterday I woke up and I think I slept wrong, guys. I did one of those. And, my neck and back hurt so bad from, like, a muscle that was strained. That I was, like, functionally not doing anything. So I did not stream yesterday because the thought of like being hunched over a desk all day sounded, or even for like a few hours, sounded miserable. Um, and fortunately, I slept okay last night, and my back is like 80% better, so that's good. But ever since I worked in a warehouse on forklifts and stuff, my like neck muscles and back muscles have been shot. I'm trying to work on it, but yeah, kind of felt destroyed yesterday. So that was my excuse. Yeah, yeah, SVG, the game is so good. And it's really cool that the game has barely changed over the last 25 years. Yeah, there's I don't think there's anyone out there that's like, man, I wish we could go back to the days with the rules from, the Return of the King era tabletop game. Like that's when this game was peak. Like there's none of that. Like it's yeah, it's totally just it's the rules have been like 95% the same. And I have the very first rulebook of this game from the Fellowship of the Ring release. And you can go back, you can go through there, and like weapon stats are the same. Like, I think this edition was like the first time they actually changed how profiles work and its entire history of the game. And they separated one piece out, like fight values, because it used to be like your shooting and melee fight values were like weirdly tied into a single profile with a slash mark, and so they just separated those out. And then they separated the leadership stats out by one. So now you have, instead of just courage, and courage affects your like magical abilities as well as like your heart of battle. Now it's two. You have courage and intelligence, I think is what it's called. So maybe intelligence used for something else. Yeah. Yeah, the weapon skill, ballistic skill column, yeah. The fight and shoot value. Yeah, there's some stat lines in that game that have remained the same for 25 years. For units. Just crazy. Column, yeah. Yeah. No, I get you, dude. I understand what you're saying. Yeah, so I have my old Kingdom of Khazad-dûm army that's like good now, I guess. Yep, I'm gonna play them. So, I love my dwarves. And I have a lot of them too, which is cool. I have just about one of everything that I would need. And like a normal SPG game, like a kind of a standard mid-range battle is like 750 points. You know, a big battle, like a really big battle, might be 1,000 points. And I have like 1,700 points in this edition, is what I figured out. So I have quite a bit. Okay, we got the silver on that. Let's get... It's funny, those are some of the first minis I started painting when I was like getting back into miniature painting and like the hobby. It was when the last edition of SPG came out. I think it was 2018. And yeah, I got so pumped for new rules and everything, and it wasn't like the Hobbit game anymore. It was just Middle Earth. And so I started collecting. Oh, Rohan's super good. Yeah. Rohan is almost like the Space Marines of the setting. Like, Games Workshop put so much focus on Rohan compared to everybody else. But they have a lot of good army lists and stuff too. And they have stuff like, you know, the Riders of like Eomer, or there's like the Exiles, right? The Exiles of Rohan, or there's the Defenders of Helm's Deep, where you actually don't have any cavalry, you're all on foot, but they get a bunch of bonuses for being on foot. And you can mix in elves, or there's like the Pelennor Fields. You can get like the Pelennor Fields army, basically, where it's like Theoden in all his glory, and the army, it's just mass cavalry charges. And yeah, there's a ton of different, there's like, from the War of the Rohirrim movie that came out last year, there's stuff from that too, where you can run armies with those characters and everything. And there's actually like an army called the Usurper, because it's from like that game, and or from that movie, and it's like kind of traitor Rohirrim with Dunlendings and stuff. So there's a ton for Rohan, ton you can do. Yep. What's up, Cultured American? How you doing? Yeah, I think it's Rohan and Isengard are probably the two most popular armies. Said SPG. Yeah, they got a new FAQ and errata. It's nothing major, but it does go toward, like, you know, change up the game a bit. It was funny, I opened up like one of the documents for one of like the army books, basically, and it was 2 questions. That's all it was. Yep, taking the hobbits to Isengard and all that. Yeah. Speaking of that meme, Legolas is super good in the game. I feel like he's always been kind of lackluster, but man, he's so good. Yep. Yeah, he actually hits on twos with his bow now. There has never been a character in the game that hits on twos with their bows. Not even Legolas, which would make sense. He's always been a 3+ shoot value, but he actually hits on twos. And sure, I'm painting the things I need to paint here. And he can shoot when he's in melee, which is really cool. So if he's locked, you can't just like lock him down in combat and say like, oh, you can't shoot because you're locked in combat. He can shoot either the people that he's engaged with or outside of it. So he just chooses to do whatever. That's really cool. The dwarf mini. You talking about these ones? Cultured. Sounds like a cheating elf. Yep, basically. Basically. Get the proper pieces painted here. Silver. Intrigued by SBG, but the minis look crunchy. Yeah, there's some really outdated minis in that line. There are some good ones though that are really good, but they're like in metal, which is probably preferable to that game, honestly. The plastics are where they don't look quite as good. Yeah. Oh, the poor. Yeah. So the wood elves, the Lothlorien elves specifically, like the Galathrim and everything, they had so much potential because they got 3 plastic boxes, which is crazy for an SBG army to get 3 whole plastic boxes. So they got 3 plastic boxes. They got like wood elves with like, no armor, like Fellowship of the Ring wood elves, and then they got the Galathrim like on foot, like a Helm's Deep, and they got those Galathrim that are like the armored elves, but then they're on horseback, so they have like Galathrim knights, which is really cool. All of those minis look terrible. The sculptor who sculpted those minis did such a bad job on them. Yeah, those are really bad. They're not quite as bad in person when you look at them, but there's a lot of issues with those. It was this weird era of Games Workshop plastics where they, for SBG specifically, they wanted all the minis to be a single piece. So they're all just one-piece minis. There's no assembly required. You can clip them off and you tap them into the bases, and that's all you do with them. And so it seemed like that was like a requirement for them. But then what happens with plastic when you have single-piece minis is they don't do undercuts. So everywhere where it's like lined up with the sprue, there's so many like just flat edges. So you'll have like a cloak, and then the flat edges on the cloak are, it's just like flat, like there's no folds in the cloak or anything, and sometimes their hands are positioned there, and they'll just kind of like meld into like one blob of plastic. Yeah. You can still paint them to look really nice, but those are rough. Were rough plastics. Just trying to figure out what I'm doing here. We got you. We'll get you. Like someone used too much starch. Yeah, the way to go with the Middle Earth though is to find the metal sculpts before they did plastics, if you're like really concerned about the sculpts. But those are either expensive or they are will only be available on made to order terms, so might be difficult to find those. But like the metal characters look great. The new plastic characters all look amazing. Like they've stepped it up a lot. Okay, I think that might be it for silver. This guy. Cool. There's a little bit of silver I have to put over black, but that's okay. Yeah, Fangorn is one of the like stupid broken factions in the game right now, though. So Fangorn's a faction you play if you don't want friends, because most people can't deal with giant walking trees, which is appropriate, right, for Fangorn. But yeah, SPG's had knights. Yeah, that's been a thing for a long time. Since Return of the King, they had the Gondor Knight minis. So 2003. A giant walking tree. Exactly. Yeah, it'd be terrifying. Yeah. Should I miss these for 20 years? Yeah. Yeah, the deer related PTSD. You can't deal with like the mounted soldiers. The Dolam Roth Knights are really cool. So there's like Gondor Fiefdoms, which is one of the factions. They're kind of like a legacy faction, but again, it's one of those specialist games thing where like legacy are fine with everybody. And not used to having words in these songs. But the fiefdoms are cool. It's a big like book reference. The fiefdoms don't show up in the movies at all, but like Prince Imrahil is like a really big deal in the novels. For anyone who had read The Return of the King, Imrahil's like the dude that defends Minas Tirith and helps win the Battle of Pelennor Fields. That guy he had a belt there. All right. LTR, The Hobbit, War of Rohirrim? No, they're just different like factions. They all play in the same game. So they have so the game is set up where they have like the core rulebook, right? Like all their games, they have a big core rulebook. You know, the big rulebook or whatever. And then instead of individual armies having their own book, they separate them based on the setting. So if you want rules for example, Gondor, okay, you want some Gondor rules like Aragorn and stuff. Well, Aragorn doesn't show up in The Hobbit, and he doesn't show up in the War of the Rohirrim. He shows up in there's also an Armies of Middle-earth book. I think the Rohirrim stuff might just be in Lord of the Rings, which is kind of weird. But you'd get Aragorn in the Armies of Lord of the Rings book. Or if you wanted like Smaug the Dragon, and you wanted to field him, which is completely ridiculous. And he's mostly banned, I think, from what I understand, in a lot of events. But he would be in the Armies of the Hobbit. Or if you want like Azog and Bolg, they'd be Armies of the Hobbit. For anything that's not specifically in a movie or a trilogy or whatever, they put them in a book called Armies of Middle-earth. So I play the Dwarves of Khazad-dûm, which are not shown alive in any film. So my army rules are relegated to the armies of Middle-earth. Yeah, I think that's good. Let's go. Okay, cool. It's 2 down. Yeah, it's all the same game though. There's everybody plays against everybody. Almost done with your first Scarab Occult unit. Nice, nice. I have a Thousand Suns video coming out tomorrow for general public, but it'll be out this afternoon for Patreon. It's a narrative heavy game. Yeah, I still think most people that play, at least most people that I know that play, are they're very much like it's not about playing the narrative scenarios. It's about, you know, you build the army you want, you play against the other guy's army. I don't see a lot of people setting up events of like, hey, we're gonna set up a group get together and we're going to play the Siege of Helm's Deep. Like people don't do that. So we do that more in my Heresy group than they do in the Middle Earth group. You can get Rosie and Gaffer. Yep. You can get the Sackville Bagginses also. It's great. Is it like a Lobelia? Sackville Baggins has she's got like an umbrella that she hits people with. Yeah. I appreciate that, Big Papa. Thank you, man. I'm having fun making the videos. I got more ideas, and I'm taking ideas, so... Yeah, Hobbit armies are really cool. They get slaughtered in droves, but they have all kinds of like random tricks they can do. The Crucible of Champions. I feel like I've heard of that. Refresh my memory though. What's that about? It's like through force? No, I'm not like stealing ideas from specific people. I'm taking requests, allowing people to request topics they would like to see covered as I make videos. I'm excited for my next one though. The next one in particular, I was excited for this one. I had a lot of fun making this one, but the next one I am extra excited about. Makes way more sense, yeah. They have rules in Middle-earth for Gandalf on his cart. You guys know, like the beginning of the Fellowship when he's rolling into the Shire? Like, there are rules for that. And he actually has, like, fireworks in the back of his cart that he sets off. And from what I was reading, I don't own Gandalf with the cart, but his fireworks were, like stupid, like, broken. Like, just way too strong. You know, just nice old man riding around. And then fireworking people. Which, you know, I mean, missiles and stuff I feel like would be pretty strong in a setting that was kind of like medieval. Yep, they have Tom and Goldberry. Yeah, Tom doesn't fight. No, he actually doesn't fight in the game. No, I don't think he does, and you can't fight him either. He's got some weird rules where he just runs around and like is just a troll to everybody. Hey, what's up, Blue? How you doing? Oh, I don't want to do that. Change this up here. Space. Oh, the custom character stuff. Okay, yeah. I've seen that. It looks really interesting. You need to sing his Goldberry song. He has songs that he sings. Actually, hold on. Hold that thought. He might be in this. I have with me the Armies of Middle-earth book. Let me see if Tom Bombadil's in here. I think he would be. Very uncomprehensive list here. Let's see. Where are you, Tom? Oh, that's not what I want. Okay. Let's see. Yep, they have the Hobbits from the Scouring of the Shire, which is really cool. They got Fatty Bulger, Tom Cotton. Let's see, those are Hobbits. They got, okay, Beorn. Here's Tom Bombadil. All right. Yeah, so it actually shows you. Let me show you this. So, Tom Bombadil, there's his mini. It's great. But his stat line is a bunch of question marks. That's how they made this dude. The most powerful being in Middle-earth. And his stat line is... so, what he does... He has a rule called Tom is Master. He treats everything as open terrain. If he gets shot with a missile weapon, it automatically fails. Like, if it hits him, it just disappears into nothingness. Models can't move through him. He can be charged, but his side automatically wins combat that they're part of, which is so strong. But if they do win, the friendly models can't strike against the enemy, so they can't try to wound the enemy models. Okay, and then he sings a jolly song. Sing a jolly song is a rule he has. He can spend a will point. He has 12 will points, and he can sing any number of songs during his activation. Yeah, he heals wounds, adds 3 inches to the movement value, recovers from magical powers. Ring-a-Dong Dillo is one of his songs. Automatically pass any courage tests. Use an enemy spirit model within 6. Chosen model suffers a wound. Make spirit model just suffer. So he'll just kill Nazgul when he looks at him. Yep. And then okay, if he's engaged in combat during the turn, he gives up a will point. And then Goldberry is also here, and her question marks are also her stats are also question marks. She has a similar combat rule, and she has her own songs. Yep, and Goldberry can only be taken. This is Goldberry's mini, by the way. That's an older mini. That might be from like 2005, 2004, something like that. So, yeah. Cool. There you go. Tom Bombadil. Picking up Ghosty Boys from Middle-earth game because they look cool. Yeah, yeah. Who's Goldberry? She is Tom Bombadil's wife. Yeah. Gold blurry model? Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yep. The River Woman's daughter. Yeah. Okay, did I have more? Let's see. I got those. She's so radiant you can't look directly at her. Yes, yep. You're welcome, guys. You're welcome. I should get Tom Bombadil and Goldberry and bring them in an army and have an army with them. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what kind of army they can be brought in or what they can. Probably with like eagles and stuff. Call him Tommy B. Oh, okay, okay, yeah. Tom won't care. There's Frodo. Yeah, well, I can look this up actually. Let's So what are some different armies in here? Air War. Yeah, maybe Battle of Bywater? I don't know. Okay, Battle of Bywater. No Tom Bombadil there. There's Baldo Tulpenny. Tulpenny? Yep, Hamfast Gamgee, old gaffer. Farmer Maggot. And Tom Cotton. That's Rosie Cotton's dad, by the way. Alright, Arathorn's Stand. I don't need to do Arathorn here. Grey Company. Doesn't have them. The Bjornings, no. Words of Izance, Rohan. As of the Druidin. No, nothing there. Huh. Yeah, Bill has rules. Yeah. I can look up Bill's rules here in a minute. I don't have the book, but I have the army builder here. I think Bill restores like might points or something, or fate points to heroes when they're in base contact with him, which is incredible. Where are you, Tom? Huh. What does it say about... Yeah, I don't know what kind of army he can be taken in. Here we go. Okay, let's try this. This is where I need to go. Okay, Legions of Middle-earth. Is he in the Elven Kingdoms? Let's see. Okay, Free People. Tom Bombadil, he can... okay, so there's an army list called the Road to Rivendell. That's where he can be included. So I assume that's like... you know, the Four Hobbits, Aragorn, maybe Arwen is part of that, maybe Glorfindel, and I imagine, oh, who was the elf they meet on the road, the hobbits, like Sam and Frodo, Gildor, is it Gildor and Glorion or something? That guy. Let me see here. We gotta do Fellowship. Bill the Pony, here we go. What does Bill do? Okay. Bill the Pony. He's got 2 wounds, that's good. He's only fight 2. Okay. A Fellowship model that ends their activation in base contact with Bill can roll a d6. On a 5+, they restore a point of might, will, or fate spent earlier in the battle. That's really good. That is really good. Only 1 model can use this rule each turn. So it's kind of rough. He also acts as a banner. So banners are really important in this game. They give you rerolls in your combats. And it's one of the only ways you get rerolls or banners. And he just acts like a banner. His rule is called Official Meals. And then his rule that gives might and stuff back to characters is called Second Breakfast. And then he doesn't provide Standfast. Okay, so he has only a pony. So no one's inspired by Bill truly, but... Yeah, the Mouth of Sauron is my favorite villain in that. Oops, all Ents. Yeah, you can play all Ents. Yeah, you can play... You can play the game with just Ents. And it's really good. Because people have a really hard time dealing with it. Because they're all like toughness 8 or something, which is ridiculous in the game. And the way you used to deal with Ents was you would kind of tie one of them up in combat and then you just go hold the objectives. And you slowly die while you hold the objectives. And then you hope by the time you're actually dead, you hold more objectives than whatever Ents are left. And now Ents count as more models for capturing objectives. And it made it that much more difficult to hold objectives against them. So they're just better. I'm pretty inspired by Bill. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I get it. Bill the Pony's great. Yeah, you can get Momokill. So the Mumix at the time when those came out, they were the largest plastic minigames Workshop had ever made. That was their claim to fame. I remember when they came out because they announced them being released when I was actually at Games Day in Chicago. When Games Workshop used to, they would put on their own conventions throughout at least the US. I'm sure they did them in the UK and stuff, but I went to Games Day in Chicago. It was I think the only time I've ever been to Chicago aside from an airport, but I went there as a kid. I was like 13 or 14 years old, and they showed off those Mumakill, and they're like, this is the biggest model we've ever made, and like it was a huge deal. It's the same model that they had. They never updated it. I remember it retailed at $99, and it was a huge deal that it was $99. Everybody's like, you know, they're too scared to go over $100. It'd be so bad for business to have miniatures that cost more than $100, and blah, blah, blah. And look at them now. GW Hobby Center remained an event where each player brought one character and had to fight their points values in Moria Goblins. The winner and only survivor was an Ent. I believe that. What do they need? They probably need like 6s followed by 5s or something to wound an Ent. Or something crazy like that, so. Not to mention having to actually win the fight. It does give me a good thought, though. Like, what if they just had an Ent go with them as the Fellowship? You know? Just going through Moria with a tree. Like the Watcher in the water attacks the group and the Ent just, like, punches it. It just, like, slinks away and they're just like, yeah. Done this in the first place. Get the typo. Yeah, when they had like in the different types of Ents and stuff. I don't know if they still do that or not, but I love that Bill the Pony is counts as a banner, as he's the one that provides the meals. I think Sam Gamgee has rules for using pots and pans and stuff in combat. And like hit things with them. Like the concept of objective control, yeah. As he should, yeah, definitely. It's cool because it's not any more efficient at killing things. It's more efficient at like stunning things and making them worse in future turns. So, you know, you're just beating someone down with a frying pan. You're not necessarily going to kill them, but they're just like so battered and bruised that they like can't function. So you imagine doing that to someone like the Witch King or just the Hobbit swarm against the Witch King. He pulls up the big flail. And the hobbits just jump on him with like pots and pans. They're just like bashing his head in. That's the Witch King. Lights for the seedlings. Oh, nice. Okay. Hey, Big Papa, I made maple syrup. So, like actual real maple syrup from trees in my yard. So I found out last year, which I've never bothered to look into what I had, but I found out last year that there were four trees. We had two of them cut down, one because a tornado knocked it over. But uh, the two trees remaining in our yard are sugar maples. And when we found that out, I was like, "Excuse me, like sugar maples? Is that like that's like the maple syrup tree, right? Like that's cool." So for the past like year, I've been like plotting and planning to learn how to like tap the trees and make maple syrup and everything. So and I live in a residential neighborhood in a suburb. Like, I don't have a lot. It's not like I'm like farming maple syrup, right? Uh so yeah, the weather was what I think was pretty good for it last week. So I tapped one of the trees and I started getting things, and there wasn't much at first. And then I went out there one morning and the bucket was like half full. And I was like, oh, okay, like this is happening. So I ended up tapping the other tree with just one tap. I probably should, I'll do more next time. But I ended up with about 4 gallons or so of maple water. And I boiled it the other day. It was that Tuesday? I think it was Tuesday I did that. After stream, I went out and just started boiling it outside. And it took about 4 hours, I want to say, before everything was all said and done. Maybe 3 hours. Maybe it was closer to 3 hours. No, probably 4 hours. So about 4 hours was all said and done. I could probably cook it further and darken it and thicken it because it's very thin and it's very light right now. But yeah, I ended up with it was a lot less than I thought. It was only about 8 ounces, but I got 8 ounces, about 8 ounces of maple syrup. And in big part thanks to Crucial Blue's help. So I was messaging him all afternoon asking questions, like not sure what to do. So he was giving me advice through the whole thing. But yeah, it's crazy. It tastes the taste is so wild too, because it tastes like it's pure sugar. It's so overwhelmingly sweet, and then it has like just the tiniest little hint of like tree flavor. It's crazy. Yeah. Is there a limit on the number of taps before it harms the tree more than can it recover from? I I don't necessarily think that that's a thing. So long term, yes. Like long term, I think you only can tap a tree so many times before it just doesn't give anything else. Like before it's too damaged and all of that. My trees are giant and they're old, and they've never been tapped before. I wanted to play it safe, so I just did a single tap on each tree. My trees are big enough to where I could comfortably, according to the internet, I could comfortably do 3 taps in each tree. Um, and not only would I not harm the tree, but I would get a higher yield of maple water out of it. So I could do 3 taps. I was thinking next time I would tap both the trees at the same time and I'd do 2 taps in each one. But after you tap one spot on the tree, you can't tap the same spot again. And I don't know if there's like what the time frame is for that, but my understanding is basically like that spot is off limit for years because the wood changes, it like scars, and then it changes the water that comes out of that point. So yeah, you can't like retap the same spot. You have to like move over. Um, So it's definitely like a something you have to pay attention to. Yeah, you're wounding the tree, right? So I think what I'm gonna make for my son this weekend. That's why I've decided. I was thinking about making pancakes. Painting wife can't eat pancakes. She can't eat any of this stuff with her diet right now. Just crazy stuff. But I'm gonna make a hootenanny. You guys ever heard of hootenanny as a breakfast item? There's another name it goes by, but I like to call it a hootenanny because that's the first word I read when I found this thing. So that's what I'm gonna call it. The a hootenanny is also called a Dutch baby. And part of a hootenanny as an event, but never a food. The food item is an event. Yeah, so it's a Dutch baby. So it's like a pancake that you bake in the oven with a ton of eggs, and it raises up like crazy in the oven. Yeah, Dutch pancake, and then it deflates when it as it cools down and everything. It's very interesting. It's really good though. But that'd be a good delivery item for some homemade maple syrup. Sounds like an owl you hire to watch your kids. Oh man. Did you say Dutch baby? I did. Yeah. Just eating Dutch babies. That's what we do on this channel. Across the Atlantic, and hootenanny or Dutch baby are very American terms. Yeah. Yeah, hootenanny is a very American term. Yeah. For attention. I just like to say, I used to call it that. I used to bake him for a painting son when he was really little, and just trying to get him to say hootenanny was like one of my favorite things. But I haven't made one of those in years. It was just a good, like, easy, like, pancake breakfast, basically. You put it in the oven and you forget about it. You say hootenanny 3 times in 10 seconds. Fireworks and freedom appear. Oh my lord. Have a good cast iron skillet and you're good to go. That's true. Yeah. I'm totally making one of those on Saturday. That's what's gonna happen. You figure out something I can make for the painting wife so she can have some syrup. It's gonna end up being like oatmeal or something. Inspire this weekend breakfast over here. Yes. Alright guys, cook your hootenanny this weekend and submit pictures in the Discord. That's what we're doing. We're having a hootenanny Discord weekend. You made a pan of bacon with water. Whoa, what? How does that work out? You're right, that does sound pretty screwy. Hootenanny Discord, dude. That's what we're doing. What needs to happen? Irish, I should replace the syrup with mash. Wait, mash what? Not mashed potatoes, surely. What kind of mash you talking about here? Cover with water, let the water boil out and finish cooking with the bacon grease. Oh, that's wild. So what is that change? Okay, it cooks evenly. I might have to try that sometime. That sounds really interesting. The joke is smash, but okay. Okay. I mean, I was thinking some, you know, if you Irish it up, you gotta put some alcohol in there, right? Get some Irish cream or something, but I also don't like to stereotype too much, unless it's about nerdy things. I'm a big fan of non-alcoholic Irish cream. Man, mashed potatoes sound good now. What's Irish cream? I don't know. You guys probably just call it cream. For coffee and whiskey. So, okay, here in the US, I think it's is it Bailey's? The I don't know what kind of alcohol Bailey's is. I don't like drink alcohol. I don't pay attention to this, but okay, a cream liquor. Yeah, so there's a liquor that has like cream, and the original company that makes it's like a particular flavor. So so being American, what they have done is they have made a way to mass market it to everybody. So they took that flavor of Bailey's and cream and turned it into its own coffee creamer flavor. And it's amazing. But it's my favorite coffee creamer, but normally you can only find it like in the month of March consistently, because in America the month of March is Irish Person Month because of St. Patrick's Day. So that's when you buy Irish themed things. Coffee creamer confuses you? Yeah, well. This is America, I guess, so. Gas station individual packs. Yeah, always the go-to. Yeah. It's good tasting stuff. It's tasty. It's been so long since I've had gas station coffee, though. We do have a national sweet tooth. That's true. Yeah. Important St. Patrick's Day is to a lot of people. So here's the thing about St. Patrick's Day. Petrol. Yeah, sorry, not gas station. Petrol stations. Yeah. Nobody in the U.S. I can probably there's probably 5 people in the U.S. that care about St. Patrick's Day and St. Patrick and the day that the holiday represents. Right? Maybe 5. You could probably find 5 people in this country, or 350 million people. The thing people enjoy about St. Patrick's Day is that people find a crazy excuse. They have a crazy excuse to get blackout drunk on beer with food coloring in it. So like that's the reason people like St. Patrick's Day. And for kids it's like you wear green, and for me it's you get Irish cream. Like St. Patrick was a very fascinating person and everything, but like yeah. Americans like to take holidays from other countries and turn it into a marketing opportunity. Stop before the Men in Black show up, yeah. City of Boston takes both umbrage with that statement. I completely agree with you. Yeah. Oh, dang. Yeah, see? There you go, Mydrol. That's a cool story, though. Okay. We're not doing that. We're doing this. Yeah, we took our own holidays and turned into marketing. That's true. Yeah. Yeah. Can anybody tell me the best day in the U.S. to buy a mattress? Every single American knows the exact answer to this. What's the best day of the year to buy a mattress? Call it St. Patty's Day or something? Yeah. Yeah, the right answer is President's Day. President's Day is the day you buy a mattress in the US. Yeah. Yeah, why would there be a specific exactly, yeah. Cuz like every store in the US has a sale on mattresses on President's Day, which was just this past Monday. It's just that's like what it is. You've never, yeah, well, I imagine you would not have heard of President's Day, but it's a national holiday here to celebrate presidents. I think it's the, what specifically was the day? Um, was it like George Washington's birthday? Is that what it was? I can't. I knew this at one point. Coca-Cola laughs in Christmas tones. Yeah, yeah. Coca-Cola invented Christmas, so it's a national holiday to sell mattresses. Exactly. Yeah, that's what it is. It's yeah, Washington and Lincoln's birthday. There you go. They had the same birthday, so different years, but yeah. I hope they were different years. Yeah. The reason, like, Santa Claus is depicted as he is, wearing, uh, like a red outfit and, fat with a big white beard and everything. Like, that was Coca-Cola. That was marketing. A local Northern California municipality. I used to claim Arbor Day and Earth Day as religious holiday exemptions. Nice. I think a holiday to go spend a day in nature and outside would be a great day and a great excuse for a holiday. Matter of fact, I don't even think I would call it an excuse. I would just say seems like a great idea. So there are worse days to celebrate. Touch grass day? Yeah, yeah, 100%. Gen Z invents a holiday. It's called Touch Grass Day. Yeah, but then as Americans, how can we make money off of that? You know?
First of all, let
That's
me
the
take just
thing.
a moment to thank you for allowing me back into your home.
Hey, Nicolaus, welcome. How are you doing? Yeah, because if you're not making money on the holiday, like what kind of corporation is going to get behind that? Sell hiking equipment? Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Camping equipment. It's a holiday that's always on a Friday. camping for the weekend. That sounds nice. Desk grass. Yeah, a potted square of grass put on your desk for a week. Oh, that's so dystopian. That's horrible sounding. That's so bad, Mydrol. We need to stop this conversation, or it's going to become a thing. We seen that Leagues of Votann are repainted as Santa Claus. No, I have not. That sounds appropriate, though, and really funny. Selling trees for like Arbor Day or whatever. California did that. Oh yeah, well. What, Mr. Pink? Oh, Votann with Skaven heads? Oh yeah, that's a lot like the Mantic games. What are they called? The Veermen or something? They're kind of 40k Skaven equivalent. Okay, you get a smaller brush in there. Is that the Hrud? The Hrud are no longer Skaven figures. They're now their own thing. Yeah, they had the Hrud in the Horus Heresy series, and they're like these crazy time-shifting aliens. Yeah, they used to be Skaven in space. In fact, I think my 3rd edition 40k rulebook has concept art of them. It's just Skaven. Green as a highlight color on all plasma display and lenses. Oh, okay. Visible beards, armor trims, and white armor's red. Yeah, I think that's perfect. That's perfect for Votann, honestly. All right, Big Papa, have a good one. Good luck on the seedlings and everything. Yep, Skaven. They used to have Skaven in 40k. Who would be the best rules for Skaven? If you were to say, like, man, I want to play Skaven in 40k, what army do you play? I'm thinking Mechanicum or Tyranids, honestly, but... or Adeptus Mechanicus. GSC. Yeah, GSC is probably it. The GSC literally is Skaven in 40k, right? Yeah. They left my mind. Snowy urban ruins bases? Why does that make me think of Santa Claus from Futurama? Where he runs around just killing people. Like everybody's terrified of him. Guard and GSC are the same thing. That is true. That is very true. Yep. All part of the plan. Man, I can't wait for GSC, or Guard for that matter, who are coming with the base game, but I can't wait for GSC and Total War Warhammer 40k. That's going to be crazy. Absolutely crazy. You see her just guard with extra parts. That's true. Yeah, specifically extra arms. But yeah, the extra claws. GSC can field a 12 tank stat check army. Yeah, you probably field that many vehicles. Not as much of a stat check army, but GSC can definitely swarm as good or better than the guard can. I think with the units coming back and everything. Not with that attitude. Can't they get most of the guard tanks anyway? Proper trader guard back in 40k tabletop. Yeah. Yeah. So while I have not ever been much of a fan of using allies in 40k, I think GW has never done a good job implementing it. I really don't like how 10th edition has done allies, which is you don't get them unless it's specific units part of a detachment. So yeah, I would love to see like proper trader guard. I think that would be awesome. Yeah, like guard being able to mix with Chaos Space Marines and stuff. But I think 40k is at the point where the things they consider first and foremost is like the game balance. So like, can people abuse this? And if the answer is yes, then we don't do it. And I think that hinders a lot of the like cool factor. I want to get the bolter casings too, but we'll get there. We'll get there. Arms. Does he have gloves? He does have gloves on the one hand. Okay. Get into the armory. It does make the game a bit more playable. Yeah. It's more a, I think it's more of a community issue and not like a Games Workshop thing. Like the fact that Games Workshop recognize that people will abuse it says probably more about the players than it does about Games Workshop implementation of the rule. It's like people, I feel like 40k is a game where people are so focused on like trying to win anymore, where it's hard to find groups where it's like, I'm going to take this because it's cool. Because if you have a group where it's like, I'm going to take this because it's cool, like you're going to have a group where it's, you can have a guard or a trader guard army allied with Chaos Space Marines. That's going to be fine. Yeah, and I mean, 40k is a balanced game, and that's great. But that's why, I mean, there's a reason I play 3 specialist games and 0 main games from Games Workshop, and it's because I think the 2 main games are so focused and like kind of taken over by competitive playing that they lost a lot of that like fun factor. 2, 3, 4, right? Yeah, yep. Whereas Heresy, like I can, my video coming out for YouTube, I'm going through how I build an army list, and I make an army list in the video. And making that army list and following a theme for the army list, I was so excited. Like I'm gonna play it in an actual game, and I'm so pumped because it just has like a cool theme going with it. I'm really excited about that. Spitfire, 3 full years, dude. Thank you so much, Spitfire. How are you doing? Welcome in. In March, you're doing 500 Worlds and Maelstrom campaigns? Nice. You'll have the the next one, Eye of Terror, coming out probably in March. Use a wet palette. I do use a wet palette, yes. I use a Masters Stay Wet palette. Or no, Masterson's Stay Wet palette. That's what it's called. Red Corsairs look pretty cool. Yeah. Nice to get a bunch of variety. The LGS near me never has anything in stock, though, so, like, I'm not going to see those minis on the shelf. Ever. How much water you put in there? Can we see the palette? Yeah, so I've had my paper on here for a couple days at this point, so, like, some of the water's evaporated out, but you want enough water. What I do is you have enough water to where you can, if you tilt your palette to like a corner, you get just a little bit of pooling on the corner. So like the sponge is wet, but it's not submerged. If you have a bunch of water pooling in the corner, I pour some of it out. So you have, you know, just a little bit of pooling in the corner when you tilt your wet palette. But you want enough moisture where you can't even see you barely see the paper, but you see the sponge under the paper there where it's saturated, right? But again, it's not like sliding across the sponge, because if the paper is moving when it's on the sponge, it means you have too much water, so it should stick to the sponge and stay there. I like my goofy Speed Freaks army. I could possibly win against any army, but that's a healthy thing for the game. Yeah, that's fair. Where those Reaper chain cannons are when the enemy has debuff -1 toughness and -1 saves. Oh, yeah. Death Guard detachment. Yeah. That's cool. There's so many detachments in the game anymore, like I can't follow along with them. You got a Game Envy wet palette. Nice. Finger in the sponge. See a pull, you remove your finger, the water soaks back into the sponge. Yeah. Painting Sanguinary Guard, very nice. I'm ready to paint some more Thousand Suns. I'm back into it. I have some good stuff to paint. I'm excited. I'm going to save it for the next starter set. What starter set is that? The Death Guard one? Sith Ice? Guys, is it crazy for me to say that I'm saving up to maybe get the Custodes starter set that's coming? Is that too wild? Too beyond the pale? No? Okay. I kind of want it. And I don't know. I feel like what would happen, at least you're starting a Space Wolves army. You know what's funny is my buddy plays Space Wolves. He hasn't played Horus Heresy yet, but he has a Space Wolf army from way back when that he painted as Heresy era Space Wolves. And I would totally help him paint that army. I would love to help him paint that army for the sole reason of having Space Wolves to play against. I think that would be great. Next edition starter set will be... Oh, that's the starter set you're talking about. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, the 11th edition set. Yeah. I will most likely grab that as well for the memes. You guys are going to see a lot of Ultramarines on screen probably this summer. Chaos versions of Imperial Knights? I don't think so. I think there's like specific Imperial and Chaos Knights. Like they have their own names. But yeah, I would totally help my buddy paint the Space Wolf army. I'd sit down and paint 50 Mark II Marines or whatever with him. Just to have some wolves to kill, right? Yeah, the new Custodes are so good. They are incredible looking. And I never thought I'd say that about Custodes, because I have hated the way Custodes have looked since their first minis have come out. And the new minis just have like such good proportions to them and like great details and everything. Yeah, little Custodes contingent with some Space Wolves attacking Prospero. I can dig that. Elder Space Pirates, yeah. The minis I have not liked that have been shown off this year are the Ossiarch Bone Reapers. Man, do I hate the aesthetic of that faction so much. They're so bad. To me, they look like a children's toy. Like that's their whole aesthetic. To sell orcs if it's part of Beast Nagas or Speed Freaks, yeah. I think they're going to be more generic minis though, right? Like they said, there's the rumors there's like a big Walker mini. I don't remember if I can't remember the exact detail. I can look up actually what the current rumor is, the reliable rumor of what's going to be in this set. Let me see. Un momento here. Okay. 11th edition rumors. It's posted. Use Army Painter Gloss Varnish. I have actually used that, and it was not very good. Yeah, I have been disappointed in basically every Army Painter product I've ever gotten. Okay. The orc half of the set. The rumors, I think at this point, are a new War Boss model, a new Weird Boy model, a new Runt Herd model, maybe a new Runt Herd model, a big boss Nob, so like a lieutenant level orc Nob character, a new War Track, a Walker with some kind of mech gun, so maybe like a Mecha Dread, like a shooty Dread kind of thing, new Grots, and new Orc Boys. That's the orc half of the starter set. Yeah, so this one person mentioned a new Runt Herd, and they said they might be mixing that up with an older rumor, but maybe there's another Runt Herd coming. But if they have Grots, I can see a Runt Herd coming in the set. And it's not like having a character has ever stopped GW from making a new character for a starter set. It does take away a bit of the exclusivity, right? A little bit, but it'd be eyeing my Orc Army for Legends. Oh, probably, yeah. So I take that orc army and you just you field it as militia in Horus Heresy, and you profit. That's it. Yeah, those dirty CS. Pretty glad they got one in the last 20 years. Yeah. Hey, Orc's got a starter set in 5th edition. You know what the real shame is about these starter sets, though? Is since it's always Space Marines versus somebody else, there will never be Imperial Guard in a launch box. And can you imagine how good Imperial Guard would sell in in like an edition set? Like that would be so cool. Just like give us a bunch of infantry, like a tank. You have to give a tank, but like yeah, a cool command squad and like some heavy weapon. Like there's some like so many cool things you can do, but it's never gonna happen because then they have to be fighting Space Marines, and GW won't do that. A wager going on about whether the next lieutenant would have a helmet or not. Oh yeah. If I were a betting man, I would say there's an option for either. Specifically both. More models in the kit come up with standard points value. They don't worry about points values though with those sets. They're never even on points values anyway. But yeah, you would have. But what you could do, you could flip it on its head, right? And you say, hey, here's Chaos Space Marines. They have elite models, and they have the numbers. Those orcs, the orcs are going to have 60 models in that box set. It's going to be crazy. With Gretchen and Orc Boys, like there's going to be a ton of minis in there. But you can have the bad guys as the elite army and the good guys as the swarm. But again, that doesn't fit like a hero vibe that GW wants to put out, so that'd be a fantastic way to put Chaos in a box set. Would be to put them opposite of Guard. Be a good way to put another regiment out there too. Like I know the 11th edition box set's supposed to be Armageddon themed, but could you imagine an Armageddon themed box set where it's like Chaos attacking and it's like the Armageddon Steel Legion as the defenders? And you have like a commissar and command squads and all kinds of stuff like that with just easy push fit guard minis. Oh, it's such a dream. Action 40k seem heroic is a bit weird. It is butterscorch, but you know, marketing, right? Yeah, because there are no heroic factions. There's no heroes in the setting, but at least from looking outside. Elysians, yeah, the Elysians would be great to come back. Man, I loved those minis so much. They were so cool. They had like the bullpup style las guns too, which was great. Even their like heavy bolters and stuff were like bullpup, which was really cool. Everything was like compact. It had like carry handles, and the poses on the minis were so good. They're all like running in like really high action. Yeah, those were great minis. Yep, almost. Yeah, I was too young, and I was like, these are way too much. Yeah, I was like, I want all of them, but it's like $70 for 10 models, and I can't afford that. No way. Not when you can get 20 Cadians for $25. Or I guess they were just infantry. I guess they weren't. I guess they weren't really Cadians at the time. But A jump list, yeah. Yeah, a jump list with Valkyries and Elysians, yeah. And little Taurus Jeep things and all that stuff. Little compact Sentinels that drop down with them. That'd be great. I agree. 100%. You know what you're saying? I saw her GW wants it both ways. Was any given novel for Space Marine Guard, probably more. They make the characters feel maybe flawed but heroic and good for the most part. Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, they do. They definitely do that, but I think it's more of like a when you're in the outside looking in, it's obvious that there's no good guys in 40k, or it should be obvious. But obviously, like in their own books, when you have a character like having a story about an individual, like there has to be a way to put like a protagonist, and they're not like Black Library novels are not normally like super deep and complex, so having a hero villain, yeah. And I don't think there's anything wrong with having heroic stories in a horrific setting, but like you look at the Imperium as a whole, it is a absolute fascist nightmare that like nobody would want to live in. And they're like the good guys. Yeah, collecting guard does suck. Yeah, they like, I swear they like gatekeep them and try to make them as expensive as possible. Kane's a good example. Isn't he like he's like an uber coward, right? Just like steals credit for everything. I'll admit I have not read a Caiaphas Kane novel, so I'm not totally familiar with the character. Like the warp itself flips into every horror story imaginable. Yeah, yeah. Space Marines are psycho-indoctrinated child soldiers. Yes, my draw. Yeah, that's so perfect. Yeah, you're like, wow, this dude's a hero, and it's like he was a kid when they stuffed a bunch of organs into him and put the TV on to make him worship the Emperor, right? Like that's. Okay, Butterscorch. All right, yeah, that's interesting. I know a lot of people like those novels, so it's just not. Yeah, I've never read them, so I don't have any idea of how the actual character works. I also think people anymore have a difficult time like understanding subtle satire. Not that 40k is subtle at all in its satirical nature, but yeah, I think some people are like, they see it, probably more people than we should be comfortable admitting, but we'll see that and be like, yeah, humanity is the good guys, like kill all the Xenos. That's the only way to do it. Like kill everyone who's different kind of mentality. Oh, guys, I think Crucial Blue paused it and unpaused the stream, and now he's like way back. He's talking about tasty tree blood. Hold on a second. Two Army Painter products on my shelf right now, the black and medium gray rattle can primers. Wait for warm day weather to use them. Anything else to sit over Vallejo? I'm good. Yeah, you're probably fine. Yeah. That was great, Blue. No, thank you. Thank you for that. Just out of note, we're talking about the depths of 40k darkness, and he's like, tasty tree blood. It's so great. Yeah, it's like people think the Helldivers are the good guys, and Helldivers, yeah. It's the same thing. I do think that's why, like, Space King works, like the parody, because it's so on the nose as parody that, like, it shoves everything in your face in such a way, like, you can't ignore the, like, awfulness. And I think that gets people to think about the setting in Warhammer more than like Warhammer itself. So, you know, maybe Space King is doing favors for the setting and people's view of it. Which allows you to wind back the video, but doesn't stop you from entering chat. Yeah, that's really weird, Blue. I agree with you on that. That's really strange. It's hard for me to tell whether it's a parody or not sometimes. Yeah. Well, yeah, because the way they parody is they just exaggerate the things that already exist, right? That's all they're doing. Instead of talking about syrup, then I thought, let me make. Oh no, I'm sorry. I was trying to let you know quick. I was excited to talk about syrup too, but just so you know, Saturday morning I'm making a hootenanny for breakfast. That's what's happening. Yeah, I'll take I think it was Big Papa saying he was gonna make one for breakfast, so I told people we were gonna do hootenanny Discord on Saturday. So cook a hootenanny in the morning and post your picture in the food channel. Yeah, with the tree blood, gonna be good. I had maple syrup. I'm away from home on Saturday. Oh, that's too bad. That's all right. Butterscorch. I'll totally send you a recipe for hootenanny though, if you want to try to make it sometime. It just needs a lot of eggs and butter. like eggs, butter, flour. I don't the pastry itself is not sweet at all. So all the sweetness comes from whatever you add on to it. Alright. Bolter casing on there. No offense, but based on what I've seen, it's only slightly surprising. The American recipe isn't sweet on its own. No, you're right. Yeah, it's unusual. Yeah. I was honestly surprised when I first found it, and I was like, why is there no sugar in the pastry? We do like our sugar. I literally drained water from a tree to get more sugar, so that's where we are. So, Blue, did you watch that battle report, the Dawn of War 40K? And I don't know if you looked up Zorp's videos, but he did a couple battles with it, with some different armies. He plays on much bigger tables than those guys do, so the games are a lot bigger. And, yeah, they're not quite as, like, cramped. But he also, like, his whole shtick is making tables, so... And, like, crazy scenery for Warhammer stuff, so, you know, I guess that's kind of what he has to do. I'm actually a little disappointed in the game night guys that they didn't give like an actual shout out to Zorp for making those rules. I feel like that seemed a little disrespectful. They like give a small like credit to him in the description, but then like that's it. Unless they did and I missed it. If they shout him out and I missed it, then I apologize, but... kind of hurting. I might not be on too much longer, guys. This is feeling it. Last local tournament we played on 60 by 48 table. 60 by 48's a weird measurement. Huh. Every playmat I buy is 6 feet by 4 feet. Because I'm not going to buy 40K size mats. I'd rather buy the bigger ones that fit my right inside my table topper, and then I'll mark them down to size if I need to. Was 8th edition? Yeah, I think 8th edition was still the. It was like 6x4 tables for 40K. What I was specifically referring to in Crucial Blue's Discord, he shared a link to a video from, I think it's the channel called Game Night. I think it's what it's called. But they play tabletop Dawn of War. So, you know, like the Warhammer 40K RTS. There's another creator that made a rule set. The creator's Zorp. If anybody's familiar with like Middle Earth stuff, you've probably seen Zorp stuff. But he makes a lot of like terrain. He does like terrain and scenics and stuff. But he made the rule set for Dawn of War on the table, and these guys are playing it. And I think they're playing on like a 6x4 foot table, but it seemed really cramped when you're building bases and everything and moving toward each other. The whole game seemed kind of cramped. So I was trying to think back of like the battles he played, and there's battles he's playing on like a 30-foot table, and it's just like crazy spread out. And they'll do like the first 4 or 5 turns like in secret, so you don't know where the enemy is, and then when you see the enemy for the first time, then like everything gets revealed. It's pretty crazy. Yeah, Zorp. Locky. Two more. here. Make good progress with these minis. Finish these guys up next week. Maybe get some work in on them this weekend. See if I can paint some Thousand Sun stuff next week. I want to I'm gonna do giveaway. That will be next week, I believe. Do a giveaway for February. And I got the mini ready, so we'll do a 1-day, paint and giveaway mini. Okay. There, let's get a little more silver out. There's a couple things we can do here. Some of these fingers. Those should be metal. Kind of buckle here. We got really big base colors done. It's a good way to finishing these minis. What do you guys think is being previewed this Sunday for GW to come out in a couple weeks? I'm still going to say Cafe. I'm going to say it. If it's not Cafe, then I'm going to say Custodes for Heresy. Those would be my guesses. But Cafe seems almost like a shoo-in at this point. He is not getting anything extra. Actually, I have to do buckles. Please be Cafe. Yeah. Xenos characters also. Because if you guys remember last November, they announced it was like new Votann, new Tyrannid, and a new Tau characters. And they haven't released those yet. But I could see them coming alongside some kind of smaller release. But, maybe Votann or maybe Cathay would count as a smaller release, they would consider that a smaller deal. The preview show and release tempo has been more predictive and faster instead of... Yeah, I remember when they used to announce something, and you'd be waiting 3 or 4 months before you see anything. But now, sometimes it's the next week, right? That things are getting their preview. I do record all of this stuff, Ghost Hawks. I have a Google Doc in my Discord, that is it's GW previewed but not released. Like a document that records everything. I update it weekly. So I update it when, like new things are announced or something, the Sunday preview article comes out. I'll update it and I'll add the release date of whatever's coming out. But then once something is released, I'll end up taking it off of the list. So, okay. Well, if you were on my Discord, you would get the Google Doc. Oh, and see, Nightbot's coming in clutch right here. Hoping nothing. My poor wallet needs a break. It's always gonna be something. Always. What is? Let's take a look. So it was Barrack Stormbrow, the Twin Lance, and the Tyranid Prime with Lash Whip. Those and the Cathay Wave 2 are the oldest things on this list. Otherwise, let's see. 21st. Okay, AOS Disciples of Tzeentch coming out and Lumineth. So Anthony, there you go. New Lumineth. Are you pumped for this Saturday for new Lumineth stuff? You ordered the Black Library books the other week. Oh, nice. Okay. Very cool. Yeah. And then it was a bunch of Ossiarch stuff this past. Yeah, I'm thinking Cathay. Cathay, and then maybe the 40k characters. It's got to be at this point. That's crazy. Just how they just preview and announce all the AOS stuff right away, and then all the Tzeentch towers. Yeah, the Tzeentch terrain pieces are really cool. Yeah, those might be my favorite AOS minis at the moment, or at least favorite AOS minis that I've released this year are the what are they called? The Argent Shards. Is that what they're called? Those are really cool, and it makes me interested in doing a Planet of Sorcerers board, making a Planet of Sorcerers board and using those all around the board as just terrain. I think would be really cool. Well, guys, I think we're gonna call it there for the day. I only have maybe 3 more colors to put on these. I have bronze, maybe some orange, and some red. And then that might be it before I do washes and highlights. Ice and stuff, but I figured I'd finish these. I might just do these tonight. And then we'll wash everything and we'll see if we can't finish all this real quick and get it out. Because then next week, I have Tyranids to paint, I have a giveaway to do, and I might have another fun giveaway mini. Or we might change up the giveaway mini depending on what's going on. Might have some other shenanigans. But we'll see. But yeah, you guys have a wonderful weekend. I'll be back on Sunday night is the plan. So streaming Sunday. Look for a YouTube video tomorrow. It'll be up more Thousand Suns and 3rd edition stuff. And yeah, I'll see you guys on Sunday night. So have a great weekend, guys. Bye, everybody.